Hi, Chris. It's nice to be with you today.
Hi, Diane. Thank you for having me.
Yes, my pleasure. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to be together. And I was wondering, what is it that you would like to focus on during our time?
Of course, there were like 3 or 4 things I could focus on. So what I picked was aging because it seems very insidious. And so I'd like to kind of bring it up to the surface and have it be more that I'm aware of it as opposed to having it be in the background in terms of all the beliefs that I have, the beliefs that society has about aging, and health and all that.
Okay, so we'll focus on aging. What result would you like by the end of our time together around aging?
That the way I spent my life pretty much uh, bringing the things I believed about being a woman in the society. I feel like by the time I got into my 60s, a lot of those beliefs had gone away. They were just like not part of my choices or not part of my life. So I would like to get to that point with aging too, because I feel like some of the things I'm believing now are getting in the way. And that used to be true. Like, oh, women don't do this and women don't do that, or I'm feminine or I can't do this or that. And so I got rid of all that with women stuff. But now it's been replaced with aging. And I recognize it because I spent most of my life trying to undo some of that training.
So it sounds like you'd like to possibly come to what would you say you'd like to come to by the end of our time together around aging? Is it well, you tell me. You tell me.
More that some of the things that may be unconscious or a bias that I have that I'm not aware of, that I could kind of change that into something else that would more actually be more related to reality as opposed to my belief system around aging. So to get more reality based as to what's really going on in my life and what are my choices, and not have it be kind of have some kind of external puppet master directing me and like, oh, you can't do that, you're too old, that kind of thing.
Right, right. So why is this important to you, Chris?
Because pretty much everything I still want to do requires kind of a youthful attitude. And I do tend to do things. I remember doing this with women's stuff. I was always picking things that men like to do. So I'd be the only woman in the weight room at the gym, or I'd be the only woman at the starting line of some early marathon or race or something. And I remember thinking, like those are just things I want to do. So I still have that now, but it's 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that I'm doing this with. So if I go dancing, it's everyone's 20 or 30. If I want to play music, the people I see on YouTube or whatever, they're all young, so it's similar. It's very similar actually, but it's just a different group and a different belief system.
And so if you had a more reality-based belief system or attitude towards aging, how would that impact you?
That I would not be hesitating as much as I am, and I feel like I wouldn't have to convince myself that I'm still vibrant and that I'm still able to do the things that I want to do. Like I want to get on my bike, I want to go dancing, I want to play music still, I want to do all these things, I want to have a business that is a startup. That's again something that 20 and 30-year-olds usually do. So to have all that not be connected to age.
And so if you weren't hesitant and you weren't, if it wasn't connected to age, what would your well-being be like? What would come out of that?
That there would be a certain ease about doing the things that I'm doing. I wouldn't have this kind of internal argument, which is exhausting. I wouldn't have this internal argument with myself that I'm capable of the things that I want to do, that actually, when I was in my 40s, let's say, if I had an injury, I would assume it would get better. Now with age, oh, this is it forever. I'm going to have knee problems. I'm going to have, whatever the health issues are. So I can tell there's a difference, and that's not reality based. Reality based, even no matter what age you are, you can recover from things. that's reality.
Right, right. So you'd like to have more ease around
Mhm.
age
Yeah.
and activities related to aging. Is that right?
Yeah, it would be more like that age wouldn't be have such a big presence.
And if
It
it
would be,
didn't have a big presence, what would it be? Yeah.
yeah, that if there wasn't the presence, almost having like a bit in my mouth is what aging feels like in terms of what the beliefs around it are, mine and the world. It's not me alone. Um, but if I didn't have the bit in my mouth, I would be free to just kind of experience things the way they really are, and not have any hesitation about, can I do this? I mean, if I can't do it, that's fine too, but it shouldn't really be related to my age. I mean, that's the part that seems, limiting to me. And I don't want to have limits like that.
Right. Got it. So how does that bit in your mouth affect you?
That it's always pulling me back.
Ah, okay.
Like I want to go forward and it's pulling me back. It's like having your brakes on, like you've got your foot on the gas and on the brakes at the same time.
Right. Got it.
So, sorry for all the metaphors.
Yeah, I love the metaphors. It makes it come to life. They're lovely. So, so what I'm hear you saying, and I'd like to say it, and you tell me if this is accurate, is you'd like to have more ease and freedom to experience life, to experience all the things you're doing, and not have your beliefs around aging come up and interfere with that. Is that right?
Like the false beliefs around aging.
False beliefs.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the beliefs that are not, again, back to reality, that they're not reality. Because there are some things about aging that are true. And that I feel like I've got some ease around going into that I am not 40 anymore. I'm 72. I know that. And I know that there are some, like maybe it takes 3 days to recover from something as opposed to one day. But I'm talking about the stuff that stops me from doing the thing in the first place.
Okay. So if you were to give a measurement on how much ease you have around aging and having free to do these experiences from 1 to 10, where would you place yourself right now?
Of how much ease I have now?
Hmm.
Um, Probably 5 or 6.
And where would you like it to be by the end of our time together?
Like an 8 or 9.
Okay. Okay. 8 or 9. And what needs to change in order for you to get there? You talked about beliefs, you talked about a bit in your mouth, you talked about pressing the gas and the brake and the gas. And um, what are those things that need to change?
I think that for me, it's about somehow, like I remember with other things in my life that I would still have the thoughts, whatever I was working on, that I was trying to change my thoughts, that it wasn't about instantly changing my thoughts. It was more about having it come to the surface as a conscious thought right away.
Okay.
And then addressing it, what I found the most helpful was addressing it with humor. Like, there I go again, saying those things or believing those things. And as opposed to having it be unconscious, which is that you don't even know you have those beliefs. It's just a struggle to do the things you want to do. I remember that worked very well for me, was that I would pull it up faster and then kind of laugh with myself, not at myself, but I would laugh with myself, like, there I go again. And it's just a habit sometimes.
Mm, okay. So make those thoughts more conscious and
Yeah.
address them with humor.
Yeah.
Are there any
Yeah.
other considerations around this? Let's just see if we can bring to the surface what some of the considerations are, and then you can choose what you want to focus on for today.
Yeah. Um, like I think the insidiousness of it is that an example would be being on my bicycle. And so this is New York City, and I'm on my bicycle, and I've been riding my bicycle forever. There was never a gap. But when I get, kind of have all these messengers going by or delivery guys going by really fast, they're all young, and again, the youngness, and even the people who are on their city bikes, they're young. And I mean, they have pedal assisted, so they're going really fast. I'm just on a regular bike. So 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 to think that every single block I'm analyzing my age compared to their age, and do I have a right to be out here anymore? Do I have a right to be on my bicycle pedaling under my own steam with all these young people around me? And it's a constant measuring and analyzing and trying to, so having that be something that I don't automatically do, that if I did it and recognized it, and again addressed it with, like, there I go again, analyzing my age versus everything else, that I might actually see some older people on their bikes, like now I'm not even sure I see them. I think that I'm the only one, and that can't be true.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds similar to the first one, which is becoming conscious of the thoughts that are going through your head. Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how might you, where would you like to begin with this? How might you go about doing that?
I think it's almost like a catching myself in the act, and that seemed to work for me around other issues, like am I good enough musician, or is it okay to make a mistake, or whatever, I've resolved a lot of that, and so, but it is a process. It doesn't happen instantly, but to even, when I'm getting dressed, to consider that I wear different clothes than all the other people because I am 72 years old, and that somehow I have a right to that, and that's appropriate, and that's something that that of course I do, and of course, I have evolved over life, and that rather than thinking that's a detriment, it's actually a positive thing. So to then remind myself as these thoughts are coming up, or as I'm putting on my clothes to go dancing or whatever, it's that, like, the uniqueness of me is more important than the age of me.
The uniqueness of you is more important than the age of you. And I heard you say you have a right to that, and it's positive. So would you share more about that?
I mean, I guess some of this is around, like, the ageism of the world, and how insidious it is, and movies and people talking about presidents and all these things that end up jokes, holiday cards, birthday cards, there are a whole bunch of them around age, that you forgot your glasses, or you forgot. So to somehow, and I've done it in the past with almost everything else. Again, the uniqueness is, like, I've always made it a point to be outside of the chains of what society is kind of wanting me to do, because then I could be complacent, I could fit in, I could be a member of, like, a member of society where I'm not making any waves, and I like making waves. So to me, it's a matter of doing that around age, as well as all the other things I've done all my life, in terms of just, whatever the activities are, just to take it on is like, no, this is unique for a reason, and I do use role models. Like, I see all these Facebook people who are still jumping over hurdles in track and field at the age of 89, or finishing their 20th marathon at the age of 103. So I'm not alone in this. So I do look for role models, and that does help. Because, like I said, I bet you anything, there's other people who are older or my age out there on their bicycles. I just don't see them. So that could be something I could look more for them.
Okay. Look for more role models. Tell me about making waves. What does that look like around this topic of age?
That, it's like when we do line dancing at the senior center, it's that I can't not be like, have a flair, when I do the dance, I use my arms and I do all this, and I mean, line dancing, I think you're all supposed to look the same. And I'm like, I just can't. It's physically impossible to be the same, and the same thing with dancing, like, because I'm a jazz musician, I can hear rhythms that are, like, much more complicated than the simple dance. And so I can do these complicated rhythms either with my feet or my body. And the only people that notice it and like it are the teachers. You know, the other students probably aren't even aware of what I'm doing because I'm not I'm not ruining their steps. Their steps are just, you know, like a metronome, bum, bum, bum. And mine are like, you know. And so as long as I end up in the right place at the right time, like that's kind of what I do to break out of any kind of, you know, like structure.
And how does that work for you?
For me, it's fun. You know, it's something that is challenging, and it makes me enjoy something that I don't even know, but it might, if I don't do that, I might be bored.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it seems like it's fun because I'm actually feeling it. I mean, what are you feeling right now? I'm feeling your energy just shifted talking about it.
Yeah. So then to translate that into aging is like that there's no prescription for that you're supposed to do this or that or the other thing just because you reach a certain age. So, you know, even in conversations with people who are my age, I have to watch out because, you know, we get into like what aches and pains we have or what challenges we have, and to have that be sort of in the background. Like, again, that's reality. That's true. Like, it's much harder for me to go up and down stairs now. There's a lot of, I can't skip. Like, I was watching my friend Jen, she was making a little video and she was skipping, you know, and it was like, oh, I can't skip anymore, you know, but that's reality. But that doesn't bother me as much as when I want to do something and then I limit myself.
Yeah. When you step away from making waves.
Yeah.
How does making waves relate to aging?
For me, it's been an ongoing life's mission, and it's not just about the making waves, it's about experiencing what it's like to do it. So it's the like what's the experience of doing things like that's like when I said about the woman thing, it's like men play jazz and there I was the only woman in the group, you know, and the same thing with the weights and everything else. It was more like, I don't want to not experience these things because I'm a woman, you know. So similar feeling about aging is like there's very little that I really would still want to do that I have stopped doing. I mean, what I do is I don't want to do those things anymore. Like I don't want to skip anymore. I don't want to run anymore. And so it's the fact that I can't it's in sync with me. Okay. But I don't want other things to go away that I still want to do. I guess that's the issue around aging and having a bit in my mouth.
Tell me more about that.
That the things that I'm fully capable of, and the only thing that's in the way is the belief system that if I were to stop doing certain types of dancing that I do, or certain activities, or even riding my bike, if I were to stop that for a reason that's not reality based, more out of fear or more out of you're supposed to, or, you know, there's a little birdie in your ear saying you're too old for that. That's the part that I guess for me would be a disappointment. I would be disappointed in myself.
And what power do you have over that?
That I can either do the thing with the bit in my mouth or with the foot on the brake and the gas and do it anyway, or I could make this a faster turnaround where I could be aware of the limitations that I'm putting on myself, realize that they're not reality based, they're just fear based, or they're like some kind of fitting in with some stereotype or belief system, and then, you know, kind of guide myself past that and really wonder, is it, I get, you know, that what is that thing where they say, is this true? Do you have evidence? You know, that it's a technique.
Yes.
I don't know if it's cognitive behavioral therapy or something.
Byron Katie has a process that she does. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So something like that, where you know, is there evidence for this, and is it really true? what would happen if I do it anyway? You know, and maybe that's like an interim thing to do that, you know, would bring these things to the fore faster.
What do you think?
I guess I would have to see, like is talking about it now, is that enough to just have the awareness of it and then do a flip? But if maybe there are things that the flip would be harder and that technique would be good, that it would be, you know, it's a more in-depth process than what I do now. Right now I just like, there I go again, you know, thinking I'm some old fogey.
Got it. With the bit in your mouth and your foot on.
Yeah.
What happens if you visualize yourself taking that bit out of your mouth and your foot off the brake in this moment? How does that impact you?
That I would guess that I wouldn't need as many naps as I do. I would guess my energy would be a little bit better than it is now. Like now, I mean, I take naps. I don't connect it to like, oh, I'm older and I'm struggling with all these beliefs, but I do take a lot of naps. Like I think I had 3 naps today, just, you know, 20 minutes or so, but still that makes me think something's wrong here, you know, that I shouldn't need. And there are projects, you know, that I don't get to because I'm tired, you know, and so I feel like if I didn't have this bit in my mouth, I would most likely have more energy.
Okay. And if you do that in this moment, take that bit out of your mouth, how does that impact your energy?
It's hard to say because I don't know if it's because my beliefs changed that the bit's out of my mouth, or that I just took it out of my mouth and that's enough to do.
Okay.
You know,
How have your beliefs changed?
that the idea of making waves, being unique, and making, you know, and kind of improvising and doing things that that amuse me. I mean, that's what a lot of this is about, is just it amuses me. To do all that without a bit in my mouth would be, you know, I think much easier to accomplish than like kind of side-eyeing, you know, worrying about what are people thinking about me when I do that. Because I don't really do that a lot, but I'm sure I do.
So what would support you in doing that?
I would think it's like where your attention goes. Like if I'm doing something that I consider self-amusement in public, and most people are smiling and warm and supportive, that anything that's not like that actually doesn't exist. Like I don't see anybody frowning at me or what's she doing, or if they do, I really don't notice it. I only notice people kind of in on the joke with me. And that to me is, it's more about noticing that, not skipping over it, because sometimes I just skip over it.
And how do you notice it?
That would be like not just me making waves. It would be like me making waves in the context of, and for my own amusement, it would be in the context of the connection I have with the people around me. So even those bicycle people that are passing me on their souped up bikes, that I can imagine they would appreciate the fact that I'm on my pedal bike, and that there could be admiration for that from them. And really, I'll never know, so why not think of that?
How about that? And you spoke earlier about role models.
Yes.
what's your sense of yourself as a role model?
Right. That's true. That's true. I know years ago when I was, because I've been dancing this kind of dancing maybe for 12 years now or something. And there was a gal, so that makes me in my early 60s. There was a gal who was 29. And she said to me, "Oh, I'm getting too old for this. I think I have to stop dancing." And I remember looking at her, and my first reaction was, "What does that make me, chop liver?" But then it was also, no, I right away took on the role of supporting her, of saying, no, this can be a lifelong pursuit. And look at me, I'm doing it for my whole life. So that, that role model thing. And that these kids, I think they definitely need like active aging role models, people who are vibrant and people who are, kind of just interested and want to experience things and stuff. I think that is good for the world we live in.
Yeah. To just learn about yourself, Chris.
That it's not just about me kind of going down a slightly different path than what I've been going down. The path I've been going down is hills, and to have a path that's smooth and maybe downhill a little bit, that is an easier path, So it's not just about that, but on that path are lots of benefits. So benefits to other people, benefits to myself, it's again metaphor, but it feels like not so exhausting as what I've been doing.
So sounds like it's easier, brings in more
Mhm.
ease. But you talked at the beginning about wanting to bring more ease into your experiences, as you age. And
Yeah.
so tell me more about that path. How do you get started on that path? How do you stay on that path? What do you see on that path along the way?
That I feel like the things that are still challenging as I age, like on the path, it would be like, oh, there might be some bushes with thorns that your clothes get caught on a little bit, or there's, just little things that happen on the path that, maybe there's a rock in the way, you have to go around the rock, maybe a tree fell in the path, you go over the tree. So those things are still there, and that's that kind of reality-based aging, that there are still challenges. Like those stairs where I was this last weekend were definitely challenging. But if you said, okay, what did you remember from the weekend? I didn't remember the stairs. That's not what it was like, oh, it was so hard. And then this 13-hour delay of the airplane, it wasn't that. It was like, oh, I was with all these great people and there was so much energy, and it was just nice to be away from home and to have lots of time away from my routines to, kind of just look at what I want in life. So I emphasize that. So it's where I emphasize things, I think, in terms of the path, that would be the part of the ease of it.
And how are you going to consciously choose those thoughts to emphasize your experiences, the positive experiences that brings in more of that ease?
Well, what I did at the airport with the 13 hours was that I am here on earth to experience things. And without any judgments about what are good experiences and what are bad experiences, just experience, try things, do things, see how they feel, see how this feels. And when I think of that as my purpose, I'm here to experience things in earth, that everything fits in then perfectly. Because there's no, I'm supposed to be doing this or that or the other thing, especially around aging.
So what's going to support you in remembering that your purpose on earth is to experience things, and that you're here to do that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I already started a little bit, because the experience of doing that was so much easier than the other thing that I do, which is the shoulds and the woulds and the have tos and all that, you know, it was just like, I mean, even to experience those, you know, like it's all experience, life is experiential, and how am I fitting myself into this, you know, the choices that I would make as to what to experience and stuff. So to support me in that is just the good feel. It's so much easier, you know, it's like a magnet, you know, kind of pulling me towards that way of living as opposed to how hard the other way of living is.
So allow the magnet to pull you towards the easeful way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
Yeah.
any supports or accountability to be consistent with that?
I think sometimes the naming the thing helps me. So, like naming that taking 3 naps is a sign of exhaustion or even depression. I don't know, you know, that to name it that, and then to say, okay, what's going on here will bring things more to this, as opposed to just like, oh, I'm getting old, I'm so tired, you know, that doesn't get me anywhere, you know, that's just my beliefs. And to say, okay, this is the symptom, is taking all these naps, what would make this easier, what would make life easier right now?
Okay. That sounds like that's workable. And to remember the path downward instead of up and down, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Downward.
Yeah.
And you're a role model. You're being a role model for others. So it goes beyond yourself, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. It's like a responsibility.
Maybe, yeah.
In a good way, you know.
In a good way, yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, you know, hiding out is possible, you know, but then if you say, no, but I'm taking this on not just for myself, for others, then it's like I have a responsibility to them in a good way, you know, that would be, again, purpose and meaning.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're coming near the end of our time. And when we first gathered here together, you talked about you wanted to have more ease. You were about a 5 or 6, and you wanted to be at an 8 or 9. Ease around age, age issues. You want it to be reality based.
Mm-hmm.
One more ease around that, more freedom to experience. And I'm wondering, where would you put yourself right now?
Probably an 8, just because I could be a 9, but an 8 just because I don't know, you know, I have to put it to the test. But it feels like already, you know, I feel lighter and feel much more you know, kind of resolved to you know, live this way as opposed to the other way.
Choose your thoughts consciously is what
yeah
So thank you so much for showing up full here and bringing up this issue that's a little vulnerable, and doing the work to get yourself to a new place of ease around this issue. I really appreciate your courage and your perseverance to move.
Yeah, well, thank you for shining a light.
Yes, my pleasure. So how would you like to end our time together?
I feel like stretching, you know, I feel like,
Okay, I'm gonna do that with you. How's that feel in a hug? How does that feel?
yeah, that's good. Like expansive.
Wonderful. Yeah, expansive. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks, Diane.